Good morning, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of the Investing Bros. We go live every single weekday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and today is going to be a fantastic day. Guess what? Last night, yes, it corrected a little bit. We're going to talk about that, but Bitcoin pumped to a new high for this little short rally. The question, however, is, I do think there's room to the upside, but is there also room for caution? There's actually three different things that I'm looking at. We're going to talk about when we get to the technical analysis section that gives me a little bit of caution when it comes to being too overly bullish. There are many bullish signs as well, so we're going to be covering both the bullish and the bearish in the technical analysis. You make sure you don't miss a single second because today is going to be phenomenal. We got a lot of big things happening, but before I get into more of that, I'm going to throw it over to my amazing co-host, T-Shroom, and the great question that some of you have come to love getting to hear his answer to. T-Shroom, how are you doing today?
Better than I deserve, Tim.
Oh, classic.
And I'm feeling a little zoomed out. My camera is a little zoomed out, but that's okay because what's more important is, in real time, we're going to get a zoom in. Here I come. Oh, watch out. Here's our quote of the day, guys. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. And who said that? None other than your boy, Albert Einstein. What do you think about that quote, Tim?
I love that quote. It is one that there are certain people in this world, it's hard to fit them into that quote. You really try. I mean, if you put enough time and effort into it, there are certain people, I think, I'm not even going to name names, that some of us are probably thinking about right now, but if we really worked at it, they're probably just fishes in trees right now. Mm-hmm. We need to get them back in their water.
Nancy Pelosi.
Okay, we weren't going to name names. And then you just went ahead and ruined that one. So, goodness gracious. We got a great show lined up for you guys today. We have a couple of new things we want to start doing every single time. One of them is we're going to start giving some special shout-outs every single day. We're going to shout out 3 of our Patreon members and just give them honor. So, the first one, he just joined yesterday, Mr. Thomas Wilkes.
Mr. Thomas Wilkes.
He joined the platinum level T-shirt. He is our one platinum member right now. Just
and by platinum, you mean diamond.
Did we change it to diamond?
Yes, we did. And it was never platinum.
I really want it to be platinum, I think.
It's platinum.
There was a
in
good
essence.
debate there. All right, we'll call it diamond. We're going to go with diamond. That's on me. That's on me for misquoting which level of our Patreon. Just so you guys know about Tom Wilkes, now he'll get to join that charity council and be a part of our biz dev meetings, as well as being a part of live AMAs and getting to see exclusive content and being in that great Discord. He will actually be able to be part of the decision making of how this company moves forward. So special shout out if he is in chat to Tom. He is. Tom Wilkes is here. Great.
That's what's up.
So make sure that you take advantage of that. We'll be in contact. The second one we're going to shout out is Mr. Mitch Shaw, who's one of our gold members. Shout out to him. Gold, he's going to be able to be a part of all those live AMAs. He's going to be able to see some behind the scenes. Like tomorrow, we're going to be letting all of our gold members and diamond members, not platinum, we're going to let them actually come in early before the show and be a part of the stream planning process. So that's going to be super cool for all of our gold members. And the last one I want to shout out is Justin Eubanks, one of our silver members. Shout out to you guys.
And by silver, you mean copper.
No, now you're trying to lead us astray.
Just kidding.
Yeah, it's silver. That one I got right. Listen, if you guys are more interested in that, this is something we just launched this week. Those 3 different tiers, diamond, gold, and silver over on Patreon. This gets you into Discord. This gets you exclusive content. By the way, that Discord, if you guys are in that right now, go ahead and shout out and tell guys what's happening over there. It is popping. It is super exciting. All throughout the day, you got fantastic people in there communicating. We laugh, we joke, we talk crypto, we talk sports, we talk fitness, we talk everything in life you can talk about. If you want to be a part of that, make sure you go and join that Patreon and sign up for Discord.
And guys, sometimes finding things can be tricky, but if you'll take a look at the screen here, guys, in the description of this very video that you're watching now, look at beautiful Tim right there. In this very description, there is a link to the Patreon. It couldn't be easier. It'll take you right here. You just select one of these awesome membership tiers, and you're off to the races.
Yeah. And if you do that, you're super awesome. But speaking of super awesome people, let's shout out some other super awesome people that are here this morning in the YouTube chat. The first one of the day was Yair Navarro. I think that's 2 days in a row for old Yair. I think
so too. Maybe he's using a bot.
Wow. So you're accusing him of cheating.
I'm not. Well, I don't know that it's cheating. Just because you're a genius and you're figuring out how to climb a tree, even though you're a fish, doesn't mean that you're cheating.
Yeah. Well, the second one was T-Shroom, so that's actually cheating because you're the one that posts the stream.
Right.
So whether Yair's cheating or not, we're not sure. T-Shroom, it's been 100% confirmed he cheats to get in early.
Whether he's cheating is neither here nor Yair. Keep going, Tim.
Wow. That was beautiful. Mr. J is here. Steve B. Joe Watkins. By the way, Joe Watkins asked a very important question about releasing any updates with Cody. I think that T-Shroom and I are making a video on that this week. We're going to talk more about that. But next week, it's been announced that Jed, not D-Jed, although some people I have heard pronounce it D-Jed. People are saying Jed. Jed is supposed to be launching next week. Big update for Cardano, for Cody, and for all of you guys who have been waiting for that stablecoin now for a while. I've been waiting for that almost for a full year now after some big excitement. I heard about it last year. But anyways, let's keep going on. Who else is here? Gia S is here this morning. Let's see. Curtis Rorick. Crypto Trades is here. Crypto JMP. Tom Wilkes announced before. Grand Roofing Incorporated. Eric Wallen. Servando Estrada. Technically Larry.
Estrada.
I love Technically Larry. That's a great name. Let's see here. Crypto JMP again. Stevie V Slim. Seabass City. Josh Denham. Henry C. Hernandez. Williest. Mr. Bitcoin. Guys, that's all the names we're going to read right now. If I did not read your name, that does not mean I don't love you. Oh, yeah, thank you. Doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means it's time to go ahead and move on. We're about to jump into some technical analysis. I have another new thing I'm going to start showing you every single day, but now I want to throw it over to T-Shroom because I want to read a couple of the headlines. I want to give you a couple of the headlines and tell you what to be expecting in the second half hour of the show because we're going to start doing more concentrated second half hour stories, like 1 or 2 stories, but we still want to get you guys the headlines you want to hear. So T-Shroom, what are some of those headlines?
I am going to read you those headlines right now. Let's get into it. So first of all, we got the Bitcoin hash rate taps new milestone with miners holding at a 1-year low. So the hash rate pushing ahead there. Really exciting stuff. And then, of course, Cody's over-collateralized stablecoin Jed set for final release next week. Exciting stuff there. And then Goldman Sachs has made a pro-Bitcoin statement. We'll be getting to that for sure. Nancy Pelosi, our fish in the tree, sold $3 million in Google stocks, and we'll dive into exactly why. And Tesla yesterday really excited the stock market in a bullish move towards the upside as it performed better than expected in Q4 earnings. And that's going to be some of our headlines that we'll be getting to, and we'll cover more than that, but those are kind of our most exciting ones.
Wow. Good stuff. Well, let's go ahead and break into before we get there, if you have not smashed that like button yet, I forgot to talk about the like button. That four-fingered mitten little guy you see below the screen. T-Shroom, can you show them where that mitten is located?
The mitten, a lot of people get confused. The mitten is right here.
Yes.
And you could do the dislike button if you're feeling mischievous today, but we would prefer you do that like button there.
Yeah, that like, turn it from gray to white, and we'll be good to go. So I think you guys have probably seen this. Where is this over here? Go to my screen now, T-Shroom. You guys have probably seen this on other channels, but this is something we're going to start looking at a lot more. Right now, I'm looking at the top 100, and let's look at who was the biggest movers yesterday. One of the ones, and we're going to mention this very briefly, hopefully, in just a couple of minutes. We're going to talk about Aptos. It's been a big mover. If you guys are looking at the weekly, 154%, although this one over here, this is Threshold. I'm going to be honest with you guys, don't know much about Threshold, but it is up 172. Let's see in the month who's the biggest. Yes, Aptos 400% this month already. It is phenomenal. We might talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Let's go to some of our favorites, though, that we have talked about frequently on this show. Solana in the month is our big mover. Let's move down to weekly and daily chart. Our biggest mover, probably still Solana is what it's looking like. 19% up on the day. The biggest one, Matic, had a nice little pump over the last 24 hours. And this morning, let's see who's leading. Yep, it looks like Matic is our biggest mover at the moment. So this is a really cool thing. I just found it's cryptobubbles.net. If you want to add this to your screen, you can come in and you can look at the top 100. You can look at the top 200. You can adjust and create different ways you want to see the chart. Let's see, if you want to edit this, you can come in here and select what you want to see happen on that. And then if you want to select a favorites group, you can just come on, scroll down here, search coins, and you can add them to your favorites so that when you pull up your favorites tab, you'll get a quick look at what is happening right here. Whoa. Yeah, so some cool things. You don't just look at price action. I created some things last night. For example, volume, 24-hour volume with market cap. we now had the biggest surge in Bitcoin. That's pretty easy to identify. But Bitcoin, in case, spoilers for anyone, it received the most volume yesterday.
Yeah.
Ethereum was number 2. Not really that surprised. But yeah, so if you guys don't have this tool already, and it's not a tool, it's just like a website, cryptobubbles.net. They are not a sponsor. It's just a really cool tool that I'm going to start using on the show a lot more now. Let's move in and talk about Bitcoin. And I'm going to pull up the chart for you guys right here, but there is something I want to get to. T-Shroom, go ahead and go off of my screen. And I want to start with more bearish outlook before I move into the good news. This is something that I want everyone to be very aware of. Yes, we have been rallying here for a couple of weeks, but there are reasons to be concerned with this rally. The number one reason to be concerned with this rally is that everywhere we're looking right now in the news, on Twitter, no matter what you're looking at, I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing story after story after post of people talking about this being the beginning of the bull market. Now, you might be saying, Tim, didn't you kind of say something like that yesterday? Yes, I did, because there are things on the charts that are showing some really positive signs. And guess what? We're going to talk about that here in just a couple of minutes. But when you see this many people talking about how bullish the charts are, how bullish we are in the space, that sometimes can prelude a big dip in the market. That could be a sign that maybe some whales and some institutional adoption, people have taken some profit. They're about to take more profit and get a little bit lower price to load their bags up. So be very cautious. Continue to watch the charts, because when I see this many bullish headlines, a lot of times you're seeing bearish price action come shortly after. The second reason that I'm concerned is that next week the FOMC meeting is here. And guess what? Jerome Powell is trying to fix inflation. And when you see risky assets like what we've seen over the last couple of weeks take this much of a rally, despite the fact that he's still trying to get inflation to go way lower, he does not like this. He wants to see the prices come back down so that the economy doesn't try to go into this boom and try to borrow money, causing further inflation. Of course, we know that the government doesn't care. They're going to continue to print money anyway. So when you see the government printing money and the economy looking really good and people getting really bullish and wanting to buy in and FOMO into these risky assets, Jerome Powell and the Fed do not like that. I firmly expect him to come out with 25 basis points here next Wednesday, and then in that press conference, bring down the hammer. Another way to put it, I think he's going to piss on the parade because he wants to see risk on assets take a little bit of a dip. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree, but that concerns me. The last one, and for this one, T-Shroom, you can go to my chart, and I'm going to go down to let's go to the hourly chart. Let's go 4-hourly chart. We'll auto and kind of fix this up. We're losing momentum right now with these little rallies. Yes, we probably can go one more. And I'm still thinking that we're getting up maybe potentially all the way up to 24,000, maybe even still over 25. We'll talk about that here more in a little bit. But you guys are noticing we had massive volume coming in here. The volume was high. We had a big push up. The price action jumped up. We went a little bit lower right here. And last night, we did have a little bit of a rally. It came back down. That's just a wick at this point. We're going to talk more about that in a second. But that is less of a push. And even if we do get up towards 25, it's going to be a little less of a push than we've had before. The momentum, the steam of this rally and this pump is starting to wear out. So keep your eyes on all three of those things as a reason to be cautious about this rally continuing. Now, I got the bad news out of the way. Let's go ahead and jump into some reasons to be optimistic here. And let's go back over to this other screen. By the way, you're going to see me be switching through charts. I have different settings. I've been playing with some stuff in on TradingView. I have different settings that I'll be able to look at so you guys can see things more clearly. The first thing I want to kind of point out is this little bull pennant that we have built. And again, we're above right now. I just mentioned it on a second ago, but let's start right here on a more micro level, and we'll then move out to the macro level, what's happening with Bitcoin. So right now, some people I've seen disagree with me. By the way, shout out to Kelly Kellum on our show yesterday. Phenomenal episode. After this one's over, if you did not see that, go back and watch it. I did see he mentioned he didn't like this as a bull pennant. I'm going to very respectfully disagree with Kelly. Oh, by the way, Kelly's in chat. Love you, Kelly. I'm respectfully disagree. I think, if you were to play with this, like if you were going on the hourly chart, his argument that he made, I'll go and give his argument, is that the pennant, the flag, it's moving too far this way. And if you were to measure, our flagpole right here, and you were to measure the width of the flag, you don't want an unbalanced flag. You don't want an unbalanced pennant. Good argument. The problem is that the charts are so easily manipulable. So if I just played with it, I can make the pull longer. But I go out and look at the 4-hour chart. This one is all that I need. I like the length of the flagpole compared to the pennant, especially with the fact that we just broke out here last night. We broke up all the way to 23,800, did come back down, but guess what we did? We broke through resistance and are now treating it as support. So in my camp, this is bullish for two different reasons. One, I still see this as a bull pennant, in which let's just pretend with this breakout, this could give us a price prediction, which I need to go ahead and get rid of that line. That was a potential line that I drew yesterday before we broke through. This would give us a price action of 25,400, which is above that 25.2 we want to conquer to get above August's highs that we had back here. That's one reason to be bullish. The second reason is, again, right there. Anytime you turn former resistance into support, that's reasons for bulls to celebrate. That's kind of like a little slap in the face, but we'll keep you posted on that. Again, kind of pairing that with the bad side of it, we're losing momentum. No, like over here, if you guys look at these last couple, we haven't had too much retracements back to resistance levels. We've been able to kind of pump on through without having major retracements. So keep your eyes on that. That is one reason to be both bullish and concerned. But let's keep moving on and look at some other things that are really, really, really good. Let's pull up our Bollinger Bands and take a look at, we mentioned this yesterday, that we had constriction on the Bollinger Bands, which means a breakout is coming. Guess what? We're still constricted. Even this wick, we rallied up and then fell back down into it. The Bollinger Bands are still constricted, so we're still waiting on a breakout, but potentially, and you see this sometimes happen when you have a wick go like this, that's a sign of something to come. So watch as we end up more than likely breaking to the upside. My concern, though, is do we end up hitting our head right here at 24,000? And we've talked about that level before. 24 is something to keep your eyes on as a level that stops us from getting above 25,000. And then in that case, let me take down my Bollinger Bands because I don't need those anymore. If we get stopped at 24,000 and don't get back up to 25, we didn't quite set that higher high than we had back in August. I really, really, really would love to see us get higher than 25.2 so that we can start making that argument that says, hey, the bottom is definitely in. As it stands right now, though, keep your eyes on 24,000 as a place that we potentially get rejected on. And then if we can't break through it before next Wednesday when FOMC and Jerome Powell make their little remarks, that could be reason to believe, hey, at least coming down to 19,600, this little zone down here, if not lower. But let's keep moving on and let's turn things a little bit more positive. I made a video last night that some of you might have seen, but in case you didn't, I'm going to kind of break it down and you can go see it. It's really nice and condensed over there, but I'm going to break it down for you guys today as well. I'm going to try to go through it a little faster though, because I want to get to some other charts as well. Let's take a look at what's happening on a more macro level timeline. And I'm going to see my notes for today. Let's start with going over here. I have a different line drawn for the log chart, and I want to zoom out and show you guys what is happening. We have been in a falling wedge pattern. I believe Kelly actually even mentioned this yesterday on our show, but we have been in a falling wedge pattern here ever since the support line starts during the Elon Musk debacle back in 2021, where he went from hero to villain in a matter of literally like 2 days. And then we have our resistance level starting at all-time high in November. Now, we touched it 1, 2 on resistance, and then here the other day, here just a couple of days ago, we stopped at it briefly, and then we were able to break through. This is majorly bullish. I want to see what happens down the road, but in case you guys are wondering, hey, Tim, what does this mean for potential price action? This would imply, if this breaks out the way that you're trained to use falling wedge patterns, this gives us a price prediction all the way up at 50,800, almost 51,000. I would kind of round it. Let's go and round it to a closest point. More than likely, a 48,000 one is something to look at, but we got to watch to see what happens with this next dip. But keep your eyes posted. This is a major bullish news that we broke not only long-term resistance, but also we broke a falling wedge resistance on the macro scale. Let's look at a couple other things, though, that has happened here. This is another detail that's very important. We are about 1 year removed from the all-time high, or rather the bottom that we had that is the current bottom here at 15,600. It is 1 year past the all-time high. When you go back and look at previous bear markets, this is how it works. You go from the all-time high down to the bottom. It was how long? 360 days. Guess what? That's stinking close to 1 year. Let's go back to the bear market we had back here in 2014. Same thing. We go to the all-time high, down to the first low. We kind of bottomed out. We came back down again, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But looking at it right here, 408 days, a little bit longer. We added on an extra month. But overall, 1 year after all-time high, we end up hitting our lows. That's currently what we're sitting at right now. So that's another reason to potentially say, hey, is the bottom in? Time-wise, we did our whole thing that we've been doing for the last couple bear markets, where we take 1 year of extreme bearish nature and then we start to regroup to the upside. Let's keep moving on though and look at some other things we have going on, pulling up our RSI. So something we've here created, this dip created very nicely for us from the FTX debacle, is some good bullish RSI divergence. You guys know I love my RSI divergence, and you know, if you've been watching me for a long time, that I've mentioned that bear markets do not seem to happen without seeing a bullish RSI divergence on the daily chart. Sure enough, that's exactly what we have. You could make an argument right here that we had some weak bullish RSI divergence. If you go back to this peak right here and this peak, the RSI bottoms are flat. That's not strong bullish RSI divergence. So I was still waiting for some good strong bullish divergence. That's exactly what we got. That's one reason to be happy. In case you guys are wondering, going back here, I won't go into too much detail. It's hard to see without me spreading out, but we have some minor bullish divergence right here. Look at the bottom actually responds to this price action right here. So sure enough, we have our daily bullish RSI divergence back in 2018. And then moving over here to our 2015 dates, we had it over here as well. So boom. We got our third thing that says, all right, traditionally during bear markets, this is what happens to send us to the downside. Another thing, though, staying on the RSI, and this one I think is very interesting, because I was even one of the people discussing the fact that, hey, you know, the RSI jumped up. I'm going to zoom this back in. The RSI jumped up really, really quickly, got a little overextended. This could be a bad thing. We need to reverse the downside. Good points. Traditionally, when you see RSI jump all the way up to almost 90, you probably should be suspecting that the price is overbought. Here is what's funny though. Let's go back to other bear markets once again. After hitting our bottoms and we come down toppling over here, guess what we did very quickly? We rallied and got overextended, but did the rally stop? No. We just regrouped with the RSI while the price continued to move to the upside, and we continued to get overextended all the while the price kept moving up. That was that bear market. Let's move back to the bear market back in 2014, 2015. Let's see, this would be in end of 2015 and into 2016. Sure enough, we come down, we rematch bottoms, and then we jump up to being overextended. Was that the end? No, we continue just to move to the upside after getting overextended. Tim, what's the point here? Yes, currently right now we're sitting and looking at a very overextended RSI, but we've seen this happen before, where even though we're overextended right now, the RSI is going to come back and regroup while the price is going to move sideways and then start to move to the upside. This is not guaranteed. I'm just looking at a pattern that we've seen in the past that gives me some optimism about the fact that right now we're overextended on the RSI. Let's look at a couple other things, though, that is going to be very important. And this one I actually did not mention in yesterday's video, so this one you guys are going to hear for the first time. I don't know the first time, maybe someone else has mentioned it, but let's take a look at volume action. So I'm going to go ahead and pick down my RSI. I don't need you right now anymore. You guys are going to see at this bottom, we got a nice little spike. Yes, we had some average volume hovering right here, but nice spike at the bottom. And then this little rally comes with a new spike, not necessarily as high, but a new spike in volume. Just take a look. That's the key right there. Bottom comes in, we get a spike in volume. As we start to rally from that bottom, we get a spike in volume. Let's go back to the bottoms over here. Spike in volume to hit the bottom, spike in volume to start the rally right here. Not necessarily as high, but that little spike in volume to confirm, hey, there's a lot of people that want to be buying right now. Let's go back to the other bear market. Take a look at it. Is this hold up? Spike in the initial bottom, low volume bottom right here. So we came back down and matched it. This is the thing that they talk about in Wyckoff accumulation phase as a spring effect, very low volume. This was the bottom. This one's just matching it. And then guess what? As we start to rally out of it, another spike in volume to confirm it's time to move to the upside. So didn't mention that in yesterday's video, but another reason to say, man, this bottom, if it was the bottom that we just had in November, is looking almost identical on the charts to the other two bear market bottoms. But let's keep moving on because it gets even better. And this is one of my favorite new things I'm looking at, even though I've only been looking at it for a couple of days. But it is looking to be like a phenomenal tool, and that is the EMA ribbons. I'm loving what I'm seeing here. I'm going to show you on a couple different charts. But in case you guys didn't know, I think I explained this yesterday, but if you're new here, if you're watching the first time, what this indicator is, this yellow line is the 200 EMA, and then these red and green lines, it turns depending on what it's depicting as bullish and what it's depicting as bearish. Ultimately, all these lines, it's a line from 20 EMA all the way up to 55, and it goes up by 5 each time. So 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. It turns green every single time the 20 crosses above the 55 EMA. It turns red every single time that the 20 crosses below. Yes, right now we've had a couple different green turns on the daily chart, but we did just a couple of days ago during the beginning of this rally. I guess this was actually technically about a week and a half ago. it turned green once again. But where it gets really cool is when you go out to the 2-daily chart, where we have not had a green flash all the way since back here in December of 21. So we are over a year removed from being bullish. Well, guess what? A couple of days ago, the 2-daily chart turned green. That's just one more reason to believe potentially that we could be seeing more rally come. You guys can see this is a great indicator. It does not pinpoint tops and bottoms. That's not what it's supposed to do because it's a moving average. But it tells you where there's some good little runs that if you were to get in during those times, you got some good price action. You can kind of follow, choose to take your profit here on the 2-daily chart. But even staying with moving averages, let's move over to the SMAs and go back down to the daily chart. Another thing that we have not seen happen since all the way back here, let's see, this is back in January of 2022, is we just had a golden cross where the 20 came back above the 200. Now, you might be saying, Tim, that's not necessarily what people always depict as a golden cross. Golden cross just depicts when a line that's of lower value crosses above a line of higher value. This is not necessarily the strongest golden cross you've ever seen, but I find it to be very important because this is the first time in over a year that we have seen the 20 be above the 200 on the SMA. So keep your eyes on that as well. Was there anything else I wanted to look at here? I believe on Bitcoin, that's about all we're looking at. So many things happening right now in the macro on the charts showing that Bitcoin's bottom is looking extremely similar to past ones. The only thing I would say keep your eyes on is even though the bear market back here in 2018 continued to move sideways and didn't have to set a new low after setting it back here, the one we had back in 2014, 2015, we did come back down and match those lows. So even if the bottom is technically in right now, which we're seeing a lot of things say it is, that doesn't mean necessarily we are canceled out from coming back down towards these $16,000 levels, $15,600 levels. There still is that in the cards. But if you guys are wondering, hey, is the bottom in? Are we good to go? Should we start accumulating more? The answer to that is, well, it's looking like it. Let's move on. What time do we got? We got a couple more minutes here. I'm going to kind of blow through some Ethereum TA. I have some notes here I wanted to show you guys. But I also wanted to show you guys Aptos because I've been seeing in our Discord, a lot of people were asking, Tim, can you do some over there? So I'm going to bless all of you guys. And it's not, I'm going to go ahead and preface this. It's not great TA because there's not a lot of price action over there. But I'm going to do my best to give you guys some answers over there. If it's
Tim's TA, it's great TA.
Thank you. Thank you. So I know here, so we're not, okay, so here's, yeah, this is where we go. All right, I'm going to pull up a chart. We're not making the same push on Ethereum that we've been making on Bitcoin. So let's go over here. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Let's go to the 4-hour chart, I believe is where I'm looking at these things. Yes. All right. Cardano actually just shifted. I made a post last night on our Discord about Cardano shifting this. Where are we? Oh, I got to go. There you go. Oh, that's for a video for later. Oh, you guys get a sneak peek. I'm making a Cardano video later, and I drew some notes there. I'll redraw here in just a second. But Bitcoin, in this last push that we made last night, moved to a new high. Cardano hadn't originally, but with Cardano's push last night, it moves itself to a new high. Very barely, but technically speaking, we got up almost to 39 cents in the high 38 cents levels. This is bullish. Ethereum's not quite doing the same thing. That's the middle one right here. It's moving to the downside. The pump that it had last night does not match to a new high. It's still in a downward motion. So I'm not necessarily saying this is reason to be concerned and be like, oh, is Ethereum going to die? I actually think that could be an argument to say, hey, in this next little push, Ethereum is maybe the one that's going to take the lead. And the reason for that is, let's go ahead and pull up our SMAs right here. Go back out to the daily chart. We're going to see here on Ethereum, we didn't quite touch it, but we got very close and could be using the 20 SMA as a level of support. That's this orange line right here. Whereas Bitcoin is way above that. Is it potentially possible that as we start to dip here, when Bitcoin dips after next week's FOMC meeting, when Ethereum dips, when the whole market dips, does Ethereum just have less room to the downside to go, and then it can start a new fresh rally? That's something I'm definitely keeping my eyes on when it comes to Ethereum. When it comes to, let's talk about those EMA ribbons, though. It's looking kind of similar to what we have with Bitcoin, where here on the daily chart, yes, we had a couple green flashes, but on the 2-daily chart, it again, just a couple of days flash green for the first time since all the way back here in January. So another thing saying Ethereum should be looking kind of bullish. So that's all I have for you guys on Ethereum. We're going to kind of move on and let me take a quick look at Aptos, and then we'll be jumping in to our second half hour and the discussion post there. So this is Aptos. Let's go down, because there's not a lot of price action. Let's go 4-hourly chart. 4-hourly chart. I looked it up. This is the farthest back I can get to, and that's only back to October of this past year. So we only have a couple of months of data here.
Not much data.
Very hard to do technical analysis on charts like this. But again, I told you guys, I'm going to do the absolute best I can to do so. You guys are noticing we've had several different stopping points along this rally. The question is, can we get up a little higher? And there's something that I think is interesting. This is a tool. I was talking on my Discord. This isn't perfect. This isn't 100%. But when you're talking about new all-time highs and you're questioning, hey, how do we know what's a good level to be watching for all-time highs? Fibonacci extension is one you probably want to look at. A lot of people like to use Fibonacci retracement. So you guys see the golden pocket right here. That would have been a level people would say, okay, let's keep an eye on there. Notice we hovered right here on the 0.5, regrouped around the 0.382, hovered right here at the 0.786, hovered there at 1.24. But here we go. We get to extension. Right now, currently, as we're speaking, let me go ahead and extend this even further. We hesitated right here at the 1.5. The next level I'm keeping my eyes on right here would be $21.92 or almost 22. Yeah, that's about $22 right there. Keep your eyes on 22 because that's going to be the 1.618 level price action. This is kind of like the equivalency of the 0.236 on the other side of it. After that, we're talking about all the way doubling this from what we're talking about, the highs we had back here in October. That price would be all the way up towards 26, 25. But these are levels. If you guys are trading Aptos, again, I'm not necessarily full up to date on all the fundamentals, but as we saw over there in that bubble machine, this is one of the top movers. A lot of people are really excited about it. By the way, Eric Wallen in chat, he's in our Discord. I think Eric was the one who asked me to do this. I wish I could tell you more. I wish I could go deeper and tell you, oh, it's going to do this perfectly. But for right now, that's what we got. The last thing I'll look at and say, you guys can kind of depict and see right in here. We got a little bit of a bull pennant right there. Let's go to level of restriction, level of resistance. This is very rough drawing. You're just seeing the artist work. And let's go ahead and just put it, let's go like this. That's going to be our bull pennant. We're going to go down to where this flag bull kind of starts. You could make an argument for coming down here. I'm going to go ahead and start where it gets more parabolic up to this point. This would give us the price prediction at the breakout point. Right there. Actually on the, yep, that's fine. Of about 23. I guess the more conservative one would be coming down here. And I think this is going to, yep, there you go. I'm going to go with this one because remember, that was also the level on Fibonacci extension. $22 is looking like a good place if you are in Aptos and you're looking for another place to take profit. Couple things, again, not a lot going on here, but $22 is looking like a spot that I would be taking profit. That's not financial advice, just some friendly technical analysis for you. Hopefully that helps. T-Shim, you can go off my screen. That was a lot, but I'm hoping that I helped you a lot. I had a new system today. I went ahead and wrote all my notes down rather than trying to, fumble through everything and find my place. I had all my notes. Let me know if you guys liked that technical analysis better than you've liked some previous ones, and I'll keep doing that before all the show. T-Shroom. It is past the market open. Do you have any thoughts about the stock market of what you're seeing so far this morning?
Absolutely, Tim. Let's go ahead and hop right on over there, and let's just take a look. We'll start in energy, as we usually do. Natural gas coming in down significantly, so breaking through what we thought could have been the bottom. As you see here, this is not the right chart. This is natural gas on the monthly candles. As you can see here, guys, it has been just a tear through the last couple of years to the downside, and then all of a sudden in February 2021 just had a nice ascension there, quite a bit of a percentage gain if you were to kind of map it out from February early 2021 to the peak there in September 2022. 250% gain now, pretty much given all of that back, down 72%. So it's pretty intense, guys. If you've been in this trade, you've been definitely punished. But I've got to say, I'm still holding on to it. Looking over into oil in general, you can see that we'll get off the monthly chart here, and we'll go to not quite the hourly chart, but we'll go to the daily chart here. You can see oil trying to make another push up here. Moving into our indexes, you can see rotation into risk into the NASDAQ, and all of our indexes are green to start off this morning. Really good to see in the early minutes of the New York trading session here. Bitcoin up green as we saw today. Matic up 9%. Man, so those bubbles have definitely changed this morning, although I think Matic was leading the way early on the bubble. So just another way to kind of gauge how the crypto market's doing. And you got to say, it's doing well. It's doing really well. Got to give it a clean bill of health there. Only Tron and XRP printing red this morning. In our metals, gold down 0.5, silver having a nice little morning rally here, up 1.8%, as it makes a run and just denying wanting to go lower. It's getting bought here at these levels down here at 23.3 and pushing higher. It wicked all the way down a couple days ago to 22.8, but pretty much below 23.3, you're going to be lucky if you can get a buy order filled. So people aggressively buying silver as it's trading sideways here. Looking into the mega cap stocks here, we got a big story this morning, guys. Tesla, we're going to be getting into it. They beat earnings is the long and short of it, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some of those details. Microsoft pushing up higher, and pretty much, not pretty much, across the board of big tech, you're getting a huge push up as each one of these names is up at least 1.5%, except Apple. Apple lagging, kind of trailing the way of the big cap. Bond yields up this morning. That's something we've been tracking. Let's take a look at the Dixie to see if we can get a good chart summary of this. Yeah, so moving in the right direction for equity bulls. The dollar is continuing to move down lower and lower. Today you're getting a green candle, but overall you're seeing just a stark decrease here. So really important to keep an eye on that. Cannabis printing green, CGC leading the way, and then mid-cap stocks here, mid-cap tech. As you can see, let's see, Jenny doing really well, has had a crazy breakout. I've been holding this stock, haven't had a lot of it by percentage of my portfolio, but it's done pretty well since I bought it. And that's always nice to see a trade work out for you, unlike natural gas. And continue to look here at the oil producers. They are up this morning, minus Schellenberger. So that's going to be our market open, guys. Definitely some really exciting news there to see so much green on the screen. But let's go ahead and check out our stories for today. Well, we're going to start with Aptos because it looks like, according to this article, it's a pretty easy fundamental reason why it's up so much. Half of Aptos' $2 billion trading volume has come from this South Korean exchange called Upbit, which is valuing Aptos at $18.63 per Aptos coin, and then and that's just on one exchange, and then on other exchanges it's up 50 cents from that. So yeah, hopefully the alarm bells are dinging for you right off the bat. Arbitrage, and that's exactly what this Decrypt article is saying, is that Aptos seems to be in total arbitrage zone right now. So if you have a VPN and you're looking to potentially get into some arbitrage for the rest of the day, you may be interested in looking at Upbit, which is a Singapore-based exchange. So fire up those VPNs and take some risk there. Definitely not financial advice, but could be well worth your time. I can only assume that this is a real phenomenon. I mean, this is a legitimate site we get a lot of news from, and as you can tell, the amount of volume going into that coin and its price ascension, is saying that there is something there. Is it built to last? Heck no. There's no way that this is an investment. There's no way I'm putting my money in this yet. If there is something real behind it, I have yet to see the evidence for it. Guys, this is just classic crypto shenanigans. But sometimes you got to take it while it comes and take it while it lasts if you're that kind of trader. Agreed. Moving along, you got Bitcoin hash rate tapping a new milestone with miner holding at 1 year low. Let's check out the details on this guy here. Data from resources including miningpoolstats.com confirmed that Bitcoin's hash rate hit a new all-time high yesterday on today on January 26th. And that is going to be 300. We'll look at the charts here just a second. But the hash rate, which is just for those who don't know, hash rate is an expression of the processing power dedicated to the network by miners. So what essentially we're looking at is just the amount of GPU power out there that is currently trying to solve the hash. So take a look here. You can see overall, this is a max chart. This is a max chart here. So all time, you saw a huge dip here back in mid 2021, but now you're seeing an all time high. What does that mean? That means that the mining industry is alive and well and prioritizing their energy spending on mining, not shutting those miners off. but rather keeping them going hot and strong. Tim, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, there's two things that I think are really important about this detail that people need to take away and say, all right, what do I do with this information? Number one, anytime the hash rate goes up, for those who don't know, this increases the security of Bitcoin. So this actually gives a lot of confidence to investors. Hey, Bitcoin's doing good. Here's another thing that's really good right now about this pump, and to keep an eye on when it comes to mining. We've been covering the fact that a lot of miners were sitting in very bad spots where they needed to liquidate Bitcoin to pay the bills, and yet the price was so low, they were so hesitant. This latest rally we've gotten, again, I do think we're going to see a dip at some point. The question is, how far down do we go? But it's going to be a valuable spot for some of these miners to take some profit, to keep paying the bills so that we can continue to have this high level of hash rate, so that the confidence in Bitcoin continues to climb. Guess what? Parts of good rallies are good dips. Miners are going to be able to take some profit, pay some bills, keep mining, keep that hash rate high, keep Bitcoin pumping and move to the upside, even if a dip has to come as part of it. So this is a very, very, very good story for the fundamentals and long-term price action of Bitcoin, and I don't want that to be overlooked.
Yeah, absolutely. It is important to remember that for sure. So if you're a Cardano fan, you're going to like this next story. We're going to go through it quickly, but Cody's over-collateralized stablecoin, JED, is set for final release next week, and that was published yesterday. So next week, it's next week according to yesterday. So keep that in mind. But they wanted to, in a press release, they wanted to, the Cody CEO wanted to stress that it is an over-collateralized stablecoin rather than an algorithmic stablecoin, trying to distance themselves from the names down here. Which shall not be read. No, I'll read it. It's Terra Luna, backed in UST. They want to make sure that you're not associating Cody's JED here, the stablecoin that's in cahoots here with Cardano, is not anything to do with the algorithmic stablecoin shenanigans that was going on over at Terra Luna. It's totally different. And I had my thoughts about that too. It's like, why the heck are they branding this an algorithmic stablecoin? Even if it is, come up with another name. And here you go. That's what they're doing. It's an over-collateralized stablecoin. So we'll keep moving and we'll keep grooving. Got a really bullish story here. The Goldman Sachs names Bitcoin as its best performing asset in 2023. The results of a Goldman Sachs report noted the comparative status of the asset. Moreover, the metrics have divulged Bitcoin's superiority over the likes of the S&P, gold, real estate, and even the NASDAQ. So take a look here. As you can see, this is their representation of their balance sheet here. The next best asset class, I was surprised, is actually an emerging market bundle. So that's pretty interesting there. And then gold doesn't come until fourth on the list. But Bitcoin taking the cake even on the risk-adjusted returns. Tim, what do you think about that?
Yeah, really quick here. I mean, this is one of those articles I was talking about that I think is going to bring a little bit of a dip. I think that people are going to see this kind of stuff and the price is going to respond bearishly. But it's good because Goldman Sachs, being a very large bank and one that a lot of people have investments in, them posting stuff like this to people who are not Bitcoin holders, who do not understand Bitcoin, they're going to see this and it's going to bring a little bit of a, oh, maybe Bitcoin's not as bad as I thought. So again, short term, I actually think this headline's bearish. Long term, I think this is very bullish for the future of Bitcoin's price.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. I kind of think you're along the similar lines there with that analysis. But the big story today, guys, in stocks is going to be Tesla reporting record revenue and beating earnings. So winning on the top and bottom lines there. Check it out. Earnings adjusted $1.119 versus the forecast $1.13 per share expected. And then their revenue, their top line here, $24.32. 42. If that was their revenue, 24 billion versus $24.16 billion expected. So coming out ahead big time there was Elon Musk, and look at him giggling and just having a good time, just proving all the haters wrong, as he has again and again and again. Well, we'd be remiss if we didn't go take a look quickly over at the Tesla chart, because it has been quite the comeback. Goodness gracious, how it is like completely shattered, just sliced right through that line of resistance that was support for so long. It broke through, and now it has come right back up. The Phoenix has risen, folks. The U.S. EV maker Tesla has come back with a vengeance. Well, we've got one more story, and it's a really interesting one. Our favorite governor, our favorite regulator, Nancy Pelosi, has sold $3 million worth of Google stocks a month before the DOJ antitrust lawsuit. So she's probably one of the best traders out there right now, in Wall Street or in Washington. And, you got to hand it to her for selling Google at such an excellent time. How does she do it again and again and again?
Listen, earlier, going back to the quote of the day from Einstein, talking about how everyone's genius, but some people are fish in trees, and you compare to Nancy Pelosi. No, listen, man. I think that Nancy Pelosi is a fish, and her ocean is insider trading.
Yeah.
She's brilliant.
Yeah.
She's listen, we can be upset at her, but Nancy's making money.
She's making money, yeah.
Nancy's bank account. You ever seen that interview where Ben Shapiro is like arguing with a guy, and he pretty much, his argument at the end of it is like, well, I'll sleep very well tonight on my mattress made of $100 bills. Yeah. And it's like, so his whole point was, I don't care about you, I'm too rich. Well, Nancy Pelosi, hey, listen, I don't think she's not aware of the fact that she's not beloved by many, and she sleeps very well at night on her millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So,
well, Tim, you had a theory this morning that we were chatting about, and I want to go over to my screen really quick because we don't get to look at this very often.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we'll pull up things like coin market cap, but this is company's market cap, and it is accurate. It's actually pretty cool. Apple right now leading the way by quite a margin up. At $2.2 trillion market cap is Apple. But you have these, and then Saudi Aramco, which isn't really part of what we're talking about today. But these number 3 and number 4 are really the focal points today for what we're going to be talking about. And that is Microsoft versus Google. And Microsoft is leading the way at $1.79 trillion, so almost 1.8. And then Google, not too far behind at $1.24 trillion. So these companies are neck and neck in trying to compete for the third largest corporation in the world behind Saudi Aramco and Apple. Tim, you shared with me a theory this morning, and I want to hear what you had to say, kind of reiterate it for the audience, and then also I want to hear what in the chat they think about it.
All right, well, I got to start. By putting on my tinfoil hat. This is a tinfoil hat moment. I haven't heard anyone else mention this. So prefacing the tinfoil hat means this could very much be way off. I just find it interesting train of thought to go down. All right. He is not the CEO anymore.
Right.
But he is on the board. Who am I talking about, T-shirt?
Guillermo Gates.
Exactly. Guillermo Gates. Bill Gates, for people who have no idea what we're talking about. Bill Gates has been in the news for a lot of reasons. And I'm not going to go into the details of the fishiness that is Bill Gates right now. But it does have a lot of looks like his interests and what he's doing is he's getting a lot of backing. There's a lot of communication and relationship going on between governments and him, namely the U.S. government. All right, so that's my first pinpoint I'm kind of drawing here. There's something about Bill Gates and the U.S. government that they already have a very close relationship for pushing certain thoughts and things going on. Now let's go back. He is the former CEO and founder, and now on the board of Microsoft. And guess what they just did, Microsoft? They just purchased ChatGPT and OpenAI. Well, guess what's one of the concerns for GPT and OpenAI and what it could do? Could it replace the need for Google and the search finder that Google has? Are they trying to directly compete with Google in terms of a search engine? Well, now you got that buddy-buddy relationship between Bill Gates and the government, and, well, Microsoft, he's on the board. They're competing right now with Google for that thing. How convenient is it that Google just got under a lawsuit and an investigation from the U.S. government?
Interesting.
Is there any chance that Bill Gates and Microsoft are working in collusion with the government in these very convenient timings of these stories for Microsoft to become the new Google? Now, that's a very tall feat. That's a lot of stuff has to happen, but they're off to a great start if that's their goal.
Yeah. So my take on this is, in a lot of ways, Microsoft already is the new Google, but it's because these companies are so diversified in their revenue streams. They do so many things, and they compete on so many battlegrounds. You've got cloud, you've got search, which, by the way, Microsoft has had Bing. I've got it pulled up here, Bing. Everybody kind of laughs at it. It's a little bit of a meme, but it works. You can still find, let's see what happens.
I forgot about Bing.
The investing
I'm not
bros.
going to lie to you. I forgot that Bing existed.
If it takes you right where you need to be. if you type investing bros. So it gets the job done overall. But so they compete on cloud, they compete on search, they compete on business services with Google's Gmail suite, and then with obviously Microsoft kind of dominating in the Teams and corporate space. But they compete on so many different levels. And one thing that Google does fairly well is AI, but Microsoft is now looking to purchase, and I believe they did, or they're close to closing the deal with ChatGPT, which is a whole nother thing, bringing AI to the retail space, and it's really causing quite a stir. I don't know if you've heard of the ChatGPT technology. We've certainly presented it for you, but overall, Tim, I think that your thesis is definitely on to something here, and we'll never know the truth. We'll never know what's going on behind the curtain, and we kind of doesn't matter. But if you trade on this, you usually come out ahead. And one of my strongest theses is that never bet against Microsoft. Back when Alex Jones was theorizing about, and he still does, about Bill Gates, ruling the world and all this exaggerated type of rhetoric, I thought to myself, well, hey, if this guy's running the world, right, and he's kind of the leader of the globalist whatever, then I want to invest in his companies, right? I want to benefit from his ascent. If he's got the world on lock, why would I bet against it? So my Microsoft holdings have been, other than Bitcoin, my largest holdings, and it has been my most successful holdings. So guys, whether or not there's levels of conspiracy here, I don't, that's to be determined. You can make discussions for yourself. Tim, I don't know if you're seeing anything in chat to that effect, but ultimately, Tim, I think your theory is probably onto something here, especially because of those big Google share sells from Nancy Pelosi.
Let us know in chat, because I didn't see necessarily too many people talking about that. Let us know in chat. Do you think that there's any kind of meat to that argument? Is Microsoft and Bill Gates kind of colluding with the government in their competition for Google? Do you think that's just a farce, or do you think there's some meat to that one? Someone pointed out here, we didn't mention this, but we'll talk a lot more about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is going to be very interesting to watch how it affects things in the future. Some people are very afraid of it, and I understand why. Others, though, like myself, I'm excited because some people, again, the fear side, one of the things I've heard is the concept of this is going to be cheating. Kids are going to stop learning. Our education's going to go down. And I'm like, no, if used correctly, ChatGPT could unlock a whole new world for students, young people, to learn and grow faster. In the same way, when the calculator first came out, I am sure there was somebody out there who said, give those kids calculators, they'll stop learning math.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we just got more advanced with math, and more people are able to do fancy level math. Same thing with ChatGPT. It will be interesting to watch how people teach writing lessons. Right now, spelling, there's not a lot of spelling classes anymore because we have autocorrect on every single search. People don't really need to know how to spell things. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Writing will look a little bit different, but I think it'll take writing to the next level rather than meaning kids will just stop being able to write and stop being creative. It actually can unlock more creativity. Like how many kids, they have something going on in their brain that is beautiful. It is amazing. Like the quote of the day, if you call a fish stupid because you're judging how well it climbs a tree, pretty much, you're not doing it right. Same thing. How many kids are absolutely brilliant, and ChatGPT will unlock that brilliance, and the world will be able to see it? That's my first thought. But someone did post here. Pasha said ChatGPT bot just passed the U.S. law school exam. I saw it passed the medical exam, and again, that's also super cool. I don't know about law. The law stuff is not as much. I've already heard stories of doctors being able to utilize ChatGPT to help them better evaluate patients and a quicker response time. So that's, we're talking ChatGPT could be saving lives here very, very soon. One of the reasons I think it's really cool.
Well, just to peer into, the corporate space is one thing not to miss here, guys, is that companies like Microsoft, IBM, and Google have been selling enterprise AI to corporations for a very long time. No, by very long time, I mean probably five years at most. But the thing is that I've got a good buddy of mine, who works for a medical company, and all the company does is they integrate AI into hospitals. So ChatGPT, yeah, while it can, it's really for the retail. It's for you and me to go on there and write little stories and do whatever we want, and it's fun. But it's also very useful for retail, and especially for copywriting companies. It's extremely useful. And there's going to be some big shakeups in the copywriting industry, right? As you could kind of imagine, if there's an AI out there that for free will write whatever you want it to write, pretty well, and so. But don't get it confused. Like this technology has existed for corporations who have the money to spend on technology specifically for their business. That has existed for a while, and that has innovated, and that is the reason why when you talk, you're speaking about a product like a leather purse, you're going to see ads for that because that is an AI that is out there analyzing your speech pattern and saying, hey, this person may be interested in purchasing a leather purse, and then it's going to give you ads for it. There's AI out there. And it's varying levels. That would be a lower level AI that's taking just a pretty easy input and then purchasing ads, as a result of that. That's just more of an algorithm. But there are AIs out there that's been used by corporations for a while. So what's hitting now? What's hitting the market again? Is for you and me. It's for the kids. It's for people without any money to be able to use this revolutionary technology. And to me, it's kind of a signaling of like, hey, we're stepping into a new age. And it took a nonprofit. ChatGPT, the OpenAI, the company behind it, is a nonprofit to step out and say, hey, this technology is so cheap now, and server space and all of these inputs that go into it is so cheap now that we should bring it to the masses is kind of their thesis. And now Microsoft is like, maybe we'll charge 99 cents a month for it. But we'll see. There'll probably be a free version. But it'll probably follow a similar path that Minecraft took, because for a while there, Minecraft was like borderline free and everybody was playing it, and then Mojang Studios got bought by Minecraft, and now it's like $20. So still very affordable. It's a one-time fee of $20. But I think something like ChatGPT is so obviously valuable, but it's so obviously fun. So there'll be a free version, but there'll also be a paid version of some kind of more robust, immediately applicable to bring value in a business, low-scale business version, like a restaurant, like a lower level marketing company, like a YouTube channel. They'll be able to integrate more business solutions into that rather than just it being able to write a cool story about an alien kidnapping your dog or whatever.
Which those stories are gonna be great.
Yeah,
it's gonna change the planet. Crypto Sec guy makes a good point. Maybe we've been judging Nancy too harshly.
Yes.
Maybe she's using ChatGPT to trade. Maybe she's not using any of her governmental information to make these millions.
Look at her there. She's a savant, is what Matt C.
Maybe
said.
Nancy is an AI.
Maybe she is an AI. Maybe the whole government is an AI.
That's been what we've missed this whole time, is that we keep pinning it like this was a human being, and she's actually just AI. No?
What Steve Shrum said, sorry, I missed that joke. I'm sure it was funny, but I was reading a comment. Steve Shrum said, Nancy is the Wolfette of Wall Street.
Ooh.
I like it.
Nice,
that's good.
Nice. Well, this is a very rare, and I love this. We've come to the end of our content for today with about 2.5 minutes left on the show. We go every single morning, and if you're new here, from 9 to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do want to make sure people know, though, especially those in the Patreon and in the Discord, here at 11 o'clock, in just 1 hour, we will be doing our first ever live AMA. And for today only, so usually it's only the gold and the diamond members who will get access to it, but even the silver members will get access to that live AMI today. We will be posting a link in the Discord so that you guys can watch that. So if you are a member of the Discord, if you're one of the Patreons, make sure you keep an eye out for that. If you want to be a part of that and a lot more interaction with the T-Shroom and myself and some phenomenal people over there in Discord, you can still sign up. Link below, Patreon down below. Once you sign in, you choose one of 3 levels, all phenomenal levels. You then sign. It has a link to go and connect to our Discord, and you can join us for some great stuff over there. That is all we have for you, though, on today's show. We will see those of you in Patreon here in about another hour. The rest of you, we'll see you tomorrow for our Friday week wrap-up show. With that said, you guys have a great day.